Right, guys, so we discussed about catalase activity, right? So we discussed that this bacteria do not release catalase, that is why it is called as catalase negative organism. Now let us discuss some of the important points, right, about these bacteria which are very high yield for your exam, some important factual points. Okay, now coming to the most common things, the most common factual points is that, for example, if someone asks you what is the most common cause of community acquired pneumonia and meningitis, right? So if someone asks you what is the most common cause of community acquired pneumonia and meningitis in adults. So, what is the most common cause of community acquired pneumonia and meningitis in adults? That is Streptococcus pneumoniae. So, this is point number 1, and this is point number 2. Someone asks you what is the most common cause of otitis media? Most common cause of otitis media is again your Streptococcus pneumoniae. So, most common cause of otitis media. So if someone asks you what is the most common cause of pneumonia overall, right? So overall in all the types of bacteria, what is the most common cause of pneumonia? Then again it is Streptococcus pneumoniae. So most common overall cause of pneumonia, most common overall cause of pneumonia is again Streptococcus pneumoniae. Right? Now, these are the 3 most important points which you need to know. Now, apart from this, what all things you need to know is that most commonly what basically in the books we do is that we compare Streptococcus pneumoniae with Streptococcus viridans, because these two have got the characteristics which are quite opposite to each other. So, why I am discussing this thing is that this might be a question in your exam, right? So difference between Streptococcus pneumoniae and Streptococcus viridans. So if I club down and write down all these differences, the characteristic differences between pneumonia and Streptococcus viridans, so that there is no chance for you to confuse in the exam, right? But before that, a little introduction that alpha-hemolysis, right? I have explained you what is alpha-hemolysis. In this alpha-hemolysis, we discussed 2 bacteria. One bacteria, the current topic, that is Streptococcus pneumoniae. Streptococcus pneumoniae has a property of alpha-hemolysis. Apart from that, another bacteria is Streptococcus viridans. So viridans streptococci and Streptococcus pneumoniae, both of them are alpha-hemolytic. This is the only property which they both of them share together in similar. Now, what are the differences between Streptococcus pneumoniae and Streptococcus viridans? Streptococcus pneumoniae and Streptococcus viridans. So let me write this here. Streptococcus pneumoniae. I hope you're writing it down. Streptococcus viridans, right? Or viridans streptococci. When you come to M, what does M stand for? M stands for morphology. When you come for the morphology, Streptococcus pneumoniae is which shape? It is bullet shaped or lancet shaped, right? Whereas Streptococcus viridans, it is a chain of cocci, simply a chain of cocci. But we have given a special name to Streptococcus pneumoniae, that this is bullet shaped or lanceolate shaped, whereas Streptococcus viridans, it is a chain of streptococci. It is a chain of streptococci. And another important thing is regarding the capsule. Does Streptococcus pneumoniae has got a capsule? Yes. I told you having capsule is the most important virulent factor, right? Because capsule protects the bacteria for adhesion to the host surface. If I have a capsule, I can go and attach anywhere to the host cell. Point number 2 is, if any phagocyte is coming to kill me, the capsule surrounding me will prevent phagocytosis, right? So does Streptococcus pneumoniae have the capsule? Yes. But Is Streptococcus viridans having a capsule? No, it is not having a capsule. So this is the difference which you need to know. And coming to colonies, another important thing here is, I'll explain you, but just for the notes purpose, I'm just writing it down that Streptococcus pneumoniae, when you look in the colonies, for example, I have taken a blood agar plate and I have put Streptococcus pneumoniae into that bacteria. Now, when you look at those colonies there, they are carom coin shaped. They are carom coin shaped. They are carom coined shape. But whereas Streptococcus viridans, they are convex shape. Now, what do you mean by carom coin shape? What do I mean by carom coin shape is that all of you know that when I take Streptococcus pneumoniae in a blood agar plate, it will perform which hemolysis? It will perform alpha hemolysis. Alpha hemolysis is also called as, yes, alpha hemolysis is also called as partial hemolysis or green hemolysis, right? So I also saw alpha hemolysis now. Now I still kept that for a long time like that. Still I kept those bacteria in that plate. Even after seeing alpha hemolysis, I kept that bacteria in that plate for a long time. When I kept that bacteria in the plate for much more long time, what slowly happened is that the structure of the bacteria started to change. What happened is that, for example, if this is the bacteria over here, right? This is the bacteria. You can see now what is happening. Slowly, what is happening here? Slowly there is a depression in the center. There is depression in the center of the bacteria, but look on the sides. The sides of the bacteria have been elevated. Previously, all of them have got a uniform shape, right? Now, slowly when I'm bending it, look here, the sides are elevated, the center is depressed, right? So, sides are elevated and center is depressed. Sides are elevated and center is depressed, right? So when you see a carom coin, even in the carom coin, the center part is depressed, but the sides are above one level, right? 1 inch above. So they are elevated, and in the center there is a small depression if you can see a carom coin. So these colonies, these Streptococcus pneumoniae colonies in a blood agar plate, when you put for a long time, they appear that shape. That is why these are called as carom coin appearance. Carom coin, they have carom coin appearance, right? So that is the reason why we have written that S pneumonia has carom coin appearance, whereas S viridans is convex in shape, right? So on the blood agar, another important thing which you would find is that there is alpha hemolysis obviously, but there is narrow zone of alpha hemolysis. There is narrow zone of alpha hemolysis. When there is narrow here in Streptococcus pneumoniae, there will be wide zone of alpha hemolysis. There is wide zone of alpha hemolysis. When you come to the sensitivity, there is one sensitivity I told you, that is optocin sensitivity, right? So when you look at the optocin sensitivity, Streptococcus pneumoniae, is it optocin sensitive or resistant? Obviously, it is optocin sensitive. Whereas Streptococcus viridans is not optocin sensitive. So it is called as optocin resistant. When you look at bile solubility, whether bacteria is soluble in the bile or not, yes, it is soluble in bile, whereas in Streptococcus viridans, no, it is not soluble in bile. It does not show a property of bile solubility, whereas Streptococcus pneumoniae shows a property of bile solubility. So these are the basic differences which one has to know while studying the bacteriology part. This is very, 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 very important part. The differences between Streptococcus pneumoniae and Streptococcus viridans is really, really high yield. Okay. Now, another important thing is, let us discuss about all the virulent factors which this Streptococcus pneumoniae is having. I told you what is the most important virulent factor, that is a capsule. And capsule is made up of what? Capsule is made up of a polysaccharide. That is why you call it as a polysaccharide capsule. So virulent factor number 1 is, it is a polysaccharide capsule. And what is the function of polysaccharide capsule? I already told you. Polysaccharide capsule helps in adhesion and prevents phagocytosis. Helps in adhesion of the bacteria and inhibits phagocytosis. Next, another very important virulence factor this is having is that this bacteria releases an enzyme that is called as IgA protease. What does this IgA protease do is that in our saliva, in our mouth, we have got IgA antibodies, right? So this IgA protease, for example, if I eat this bacteria in my mouth releases IgA protease, and this IgA protease will kill down my own body's IgA. Okay, my body is already having IgA in my mouth, and this bacteria releases IgA protease and kills down that IgA in my mouth. Okay, so what is it doing? It is colonizing by limiting the real IgA, the natural IgA which I am secreting, right? So IgA protease, with the help of IgA protease, the bacteria colonizing and limiting, I can also tell inhibiting, colonizing and limiting my body's IgA. Next, another important virulent factor which is released by this Streptococcus pneumoniae is that it is pneumolysin O. What does this pneumolysin O? Simply this pneumolysin damages your host cells. Damages host cells. Fourth important thing is M protein. Now what is this M protein? M protein is a protein which is attached on the surface of the bacteria itself, right? Surface of the bacteria onto the capsule, this M protein is attached. For example, this is the bacteria, this is an M protein that is attached to the bacteria. And what does this M protein do is that this is also an anti-phagocytic. It doesn't allow any phagocyte to come towards the bacteria. So it is also anti-phagocytic. So there is no concept in remembering all of this. You just have to remember these things because these are the factual points, right? So these things can come for you in the exam. Either they can ask you which of the following are the virulence factors of Streptococcus pneumoniae. Very good. There are 4 options here. They can give any one, and the remaining 3 options they can give an alternate options, right? And other options, another virulent factors of another bacteria. So knowing this is very, very important. Okay. Now, what does Streptococcus pneumoniae basically cause? All of you know that Streptococcus pneumoniae causes pneumonia only. But not only pneumonia, it also causes wide variety of diseases. For example, it causes conjunctivitis, right? It causes otitis media. Otitis means ear, media means middle ear. So inflammation of middle ear and inner ear is called as otitis media. Mainly middle ear. If it is inflammation of this part, this is called otitis externa. Inflammation of the middle ear, it is called otitis media, right? If inflammation of inner ear like cochlea and all, that is called otitis interna, right? Now when it comes to M, it also causes meningitis. When it comes to P, it also causes pneumonia, as you already know it. And finally it causes sinusitis. So as you can see the complaints, where are these complaints mainly located? Meningitis even in the head region, pneumonia in the lungs, right? Sinusitis in the head region, otitis media in the head region, conjunctivitis also in the, so it means most of these infections, most of these diseases are pertaining to your head and neck region, right? Head and facial region, right? Because your eyes are getting damaged, that is conjunctivitis. Your ears, that is also located in the head region, right? Meninges, the same. Sinusitis, the sinuses, paranasal sinuses here, the same. All of them are located in the head region. So let us discuss exactly how are they causing these diseases. Before that, how are they causing these diseases? Let us club up all the properties, okay? Let us club up all the properties and then let us enter into the real thing of how they are causing such conditions in the patient. So properties, you know, it doesn't take much time to remember all of this. It is alpha hemolytic, I explained you in detail. I also told it is encapsulated. It is optochin sensitive. I told you that optochin is an antibiotic and it is Quilling reaction positive. What is Quilling reaction?